How dear you, I'm back. Enough of the misery porn description of my job and everything else. I have a new job now. It doesn't matter. We're not going to talk about it anymore. No, we're going to talk about this stuff because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of my own nonsense, my own predicament. I don't want to talk about that. I don't think you really want to hear it, so that's fine. Cedric, can you give us a clue, mate, about what happened in here? Where is the PID bin? There you go. So we're gonna study the scene here, and we're not going to talk any more nonsense about. Well, I'll be talking more nonsense, but we won't be talking about my stuff anymore. Enough. Shush. Shush me. Listen here, me. That's been entertaining. More corn chips. They'll wreck your insides. It's not a good idea. There's a butt. We have. Wow, the skin. The skin is off. You've been thoroughly shredded. Maybe when they're hungry when they hatch out. You know, they hatch out immediately, dying for a snack. Or rather, you're dying for my snack. Yeah. It's fun. We'll drop some. It's okay, and then we'll pick it up on the way through. Moderate. It's not terrible though, isn't it? We've got a nice selection of different. Splashes of gore in here. It isn't like some of these levels where they're just absolutely heaving with gore in every direction, you know, and it gets kind of miserable because like you feel like you're struggling forever to clean these things up. It's not actually that bad. It's doable. It's achievable. Crisp packet. Get back in there. I don't want to call them crisps when they're not potatoes. I feel like I can only call them crisps when they're potatoes, made of potatoes, which makes no sense. And there we go. Yeah, I'm back to thinking about that again now, about how you make them. How my brain goes. I mean, I heard something about chips recently, as in fries. You know, that kind of thing, which was. Something's going beeply boop over here. These machines are going beeply boop, I think. Hear that? Yeah, so how you make... That's not a very scientific looking bin. But we might use you for moving eggs, because they're a bit big. Hold on. Anything in there? No. Right, okay. We'll do a test in a minute. We're gonna clear some stuff out. These eggs have got to be organic, haven't they? Ooh! One of those with chips, please. Yeah, it's a good choice actually, because otherwise it'll just fill the bin. There's a bit of gore around here, but I can't actually get these eggs out, so I guess when they're contained, they don't register on here, which is fine with me. We'll see what other mess is in here. Yeah, so when you make chips, that's what the mess is. For goodness sake, me. What you're doing is you're replacing. You start your potato, and then when you cook them, you are replacing all the water that's in there. Is there anything up there? Do you reckon they've been sneaky enough to put something up there? Nah, I thought I wouldn't do that. Placing all the water in the potato with oil. It's acceptably low. I don't think the eggs are going to go at that rate now. They're fine. We'll see if there's any more mess up there. But I think we're fine. We'll go hunting around there later. Let's go into the plant room. Plants are just a pain in the bum, aren't they? Because they take up so much room in the the recycling, in the bins. Geck Sunderson. Have we had a Geck already? Maybe we have, maybe we haven't. I don't know. Where's my bins? Where's my PIDs? No? Sure, I brought it in here, didn't I? There it is, look, right there. It's right there, you fool. Yeah, so that's how you're making a chip and how you're making it crispy and all the rest. That's what you need to go through the process. And it was legs. It was a podcast about about why you don't get perfect McDonald's chips anymore. Oh, there's two people in here. That's Geck. This is William Sternson. Two of the lab techs who just didn't even know what's happening. It's sliced up. The bugs came in pretty skittling in at high speed. Sliced them in two. Well, not you in two. We'll go and get the laser, and we'll laser off these plants. Are you gonna cause me some problems? Just arrange yourself that way. There we go. Good stuff. Yeah, and it's because McDonald's had to change their fat in their chips. You might have heard this story before, but they had to change the fat they were using in their chips, and that's partly what changes their consistency. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, I won't go into too much about it because you might as well listen to the podcast if it's going to be like that. But essentially, they changed the fat because of pressure from a particular activist who was saying about how unhealthy the chips were. Not undeniable. And the fact that moving from an animal fat to a vegetable fat would help. And there's a small-scale activist, actually, really a very driven heart surgeon and researcher, I seem to remember, saying like that. But they managed to push this through by basically public pressure. Pushed on McDonald's enough times, ads in the paper and all sorts of things. They say it's unhealthy, so McDonald's changed the fat years ago for the chips that they used. They went to a vegetable fat. And that's why people say, oh, chips aren't as good as they are in the old days, you know. And they kind of aren't, because the vegetable fats that you use now just don't work the same as the complex animal fats that used to be used for the chips. And in fact, and it was all, sadly, it was all kind of a waste of time in the first place. The scientists never got to hear about it. But his son and another researcher worked on this later and tried to find out how... tried to study what had happened with the... If you got rid of someone's, the animal fats out of someone's diet and gave them, like the ones in butter and all the rest of it, and gave them the vegetable fats instead. There we go. Nice. Oh. We're alright. Oh, that one just vanished. And the way they did this was quite disturbing. So when you do these sort of studies, there's a problem, which is that you can't do a proper controlled study on what people eat like that and their diet very easily. You can do it on a small number of people for a limited amount of time, but you can't really study someone for like all their life to see what a difference in their diet makes. Because, for a start, as any psychologist will tell you, people lie. People lie about things. Like how they feel about stuff. If you give someone a questionnaire, the reason why questionnaires have like multiple questions, asking essentially the same thing in different ways to try to give an average answer from you, is because people don't necessarily always lie, but they do things where they think that they don't think about what the answer is to a question you ask them. Like, do you like things shoved up your butt? You know, something like that. Just picking an answer out of the air. A divisive answer, I think. You know, you might get mixed views around the world. Do you like things shoved up your butt? People not only think about what the answer is, but they also think about what they think they should answer as well. And it means that answers get mixed. And it makes it very tricky. And again, if you try to feed people a particular diet for like years to monitor what happens to them, it's really hard to stick to something like that. Unless you've got someone like locked up somewhere in a prison, you can't do that. It just doesn't work. You know, not a controlled experiment. Let's read this first. Hold on. Our new plants are growing well. Given the alien origin, they take a bit more care and attention than earthbound flora. To feed them blood, probably. They seem to consume CO2 and release O2 at much higher levels too. Once fully established, they'll be soon sent to the HVAC section to be used as a filter and provide almost 80% of our oxygen. Excuse me. HVAC's the ventilation and like air conditioning unit. Yeah, in a space station, doesn't just do the cooling of the air or heating of the air. It's providing the mix of gases you need as well. Provide almost 80% of our oxygen, reducing the need for O2 tank supplies. These are miracle plants. They're wonderful. Apart from the fact that they are involved in people getting eaten in some horrifying way. Anyway, so as I was saying, yeah, it's hard to do these sort of studies about, you know, what the fats actually do to you over a long period of time, unless the people are locked up. Well, they didn't immediately go to a prison, which is probably what you were thinking of. No, they, who are you? Sermod Chin, some poor lab working sap as usual, getting paid the absolute pittance, possibly getting paid less than the guards. Depends, really. Yeah, so they didn't go to a prison. Instead, they went to something kind of similar. Not really, depends how bad it is. Which is like an adult education centre. So this is a place where this study was done quite a long time ago. This is the place in America where it was in America, and it was a place where people were learning difficulties, like really quite severe learning difficulties, is what it was. And one of the things they could do here is they could control the inmates' patients' diets really carefully. Okay, doesn't mean it's like, I'm not suggesting any sort of abuse was going on here. Okay. Also, is this more boring than the goddamn thing about my job? Maybe I found a more boring subject than me. Well, I don't know. We'll see. If so, you're not here anymore. You've either got the mute button on, or you've gone off to a more interesting channel. How will I ever know? I won't know. I've not even finished recording the video yet. So they can not in a bad way, but they can control the people's diets because they've got a lot of people in this place, and they live in there all the time. So all their meals are supplied by the institute, and you can change exactly what they do. So they had two groups, and one group had butter with their meal, as simple as that, and one group had margarine. That's right. And they did a study on this. And it literally went for years. They were able to study this for absolutely years and years and years, to the point where inmates have been in so long, they died of natural causes. Which is poignant and sad. I think someone's been in there for the whole time. You know, we don't look after our learning disabled people in the same way anymore. But fascinating for scientists. Which is because they aren't thinking of the people in the same way. They're thinking of the data. And the point was that it was kind of a disappointing result, because they didn't see any improvement in the people eating the low-fat margarine, whatever it was, versus super unhealthy butter. Okay, and this all relates back to McDonald's and the senior doctor's campaign to stop people eating animal fats. This is not even an animal use, subject here. It's just pure on health, okay? Wherever the fats come from, what's healthier for people? And the reason is that too much margarine and vegetable fats like that, also bad for you, apparently. Funnily enough. Not fat's bad for you. Fat's not bad for you. Fat's all right. Sugar's the one that gets to you if you have too much of it. No, it's just different things in there that are bad for you. In the fats, there's a thing called linoleic acid in margarine. And funnily enough, although you won't get the cholesterol and everything else from the other fats, you guys have been aced, haven't you? You've not even really been split apart by the aliens. You've just been, like, maybe stabbed on the way past? Roberta Verdi? Where's the box? Where's the thing? There it is. Yeah, they've... it's just not... It's also problems eating that as well. You know, this stuff builds up in your system over time, and that's not good for you either. So this whole thing about campaigning to get McDonald's to get rid of their animal fat in their chips, very laudable, done for all the right reasons. But the supposition was wrong. Doesn't even matter. So if you're an older person and you've had the original good quality McDonald's chips, I wouldn't know. I don't know, and you hark back to the times when you can make it even more of a bitter pill to swallow to know that it wasn't even done for a good reason. Why do I find that amusing? What sort of idiot am I? What sort of... It's fine though. This is the problem. See, science is not certainty. That is the issue. Well, it can be, but it's not easy for it to be certainty because you can make best guesses upon evidence. The evidence can change. That's how it is. Getting dangerously close to some of the sort of crap that appears on Facebook and things now about, you know, I'm not going to the vaccines and stuff. Don't worry, I'm not. Nothing's happening around that. You can probably guess my feelings and all that sort of thing. Who are you? You are Thomas Bracegirdle. That's a fine name, Thomas. I'm going to knock these over at some point in here. We're making good progress, I think, here. We continue to slide our way through. What's this here? We have... Now, cannon fodder has been known to do jump scares and this. I mean, obviously, the jump scares in the past have been in things like Halloween, things like that, and Halloween maps, and that kind of thing, spooky ones. But I always try to be cautious about these things if I think something looks a bit too suspicious. And that little droid fella there, doing a dumb impression of Tweaky or whatever it is out of Buck Rogers. Yeah, you're getting out of here. Wasn't gonna like fall down as I looked at it, or like lunge forward or something like that and then fall over. Just to freak me out. Just being careful. You're probably regretting you didn't put it in now. Get out of it. There you go. Right. I'm gonna really fill up this airlock. Get it out in one big go. Yeah, you know what the aliens thing is. You should, as in the Aliens film series, you should use these little droid things to deal with the bugs. That's the best. That's the best alien hunters. Droids. Maybe they're properly programmed only for, you know, peaceful actions. Pack of playing cards. Why that's in here with the droids, I don't know. Maybe you're teaching them. Maybe it's part of the teaching thing. And a bunch of scrap. Where from? I don't know. There's a flipping furnace in here, isn't there? Oh, I just heard the darn thing. There's a blimmin' furnace in here. Well, it's fine. It doesn't matter. Why am I putting things in singly? You've given us a lot of ways of disposing of stuff. Fodder, thanks for that. I haven't dragged too much back into the thing. What have we got here? We have an alien embryo. Oh, I've got to stack them back in the thing, haven't I? Got a light bulb, solar flare, and the first aid supplies. Okay, so... Oh, they've got to go in there, haven't they? They've got to go in the damn thingy. I just threw one in the blimmin' airlock, didn't I? That might cause me some negative points. I don't know. We will see. Anyway, we can do that in a second. There we go. We can put all this scrap. There's no point putting this in boxes. It's too big and bulky to go into like more than one piece of box. So we're just going to chuck it in on one piece at a time. Oh, I'm doing well this video, aren't I, really? This video series, I've blattered about me and my job. I've then Told you, scientists and lasers, they can't help themselves. They really can't. Looks like a droid has been destroyed in here. Maybe it was like a Waldo system, like a, you know, like a powered suit someone used to go. Because that's a leg, look. Just broken bits of droid, maybe. Heavy lifters of some sort. Yeah, and I'm blabbering on about chips from McDonald's. One load of cobblers. We'll take this. We'll do the old swapperoo. By which I mean that. There we go. Efficiency along the way. We've got some little bits in here. That's why I was doing it. And clipboard, get in there. The old hip thrust. It's not working. Old hips. They're not doing it anymore. Not doing it for me anymore. Oh, for goodness sake! Why are you so awkward, clipboard? There we go. Good stuff. Good progress. There we go. Anyway, enough about me. More about you. Yeah. So I'm hoping you've had. You know, things are working out for you. I can't say they're getting back to normal because things aren't going to be normal anymore. That's a nice looking computer. Oops. They're just different. We've got a new normal. And not necessarily a bad thing. Some good things. Let's be positive. Some good things have come out of this weirdness. Changing in jobs, changing how people are doing things. Not always for the better, but there are some good things in there. That's what I've partly been doing recently. I haven't looked at the news for the longest time, really. Not the regular news. I used to read it every morning. Then I briefly did again recently, and then I was just stopped again. Back to it. There's no point. It's not there's no point. I just don't feel that it just makes me fed up. You know? Because I can't really impact anything in what I do. So what's the point in making myself miserable by seeing the terrible things happening in the world? You know? It's not the right view to have, I'm sure. But it's my view. So, there you go. But I did get reminded recently that there are news services that provide only positive news. Now, not made-up positive news. Real positive news. You know. Real news stories, you know. And often, although they're positive, they are positive aspects of the negative things going on in the world. So things like Miguel Booth has not had a positive time. Neither half of him. You know, Hurricane Katrina goes through or whatever, and the good things that people have done to look after each other. Or there was one story about an old couple who were... It was in the middle of when the pandemic first started to kick off, and this old couple were terrified to get out of their car. Because they wanted to need to go and get some, desperately need to go and get some shopping. But it was madness in the shops, and they were terrified to get out of their car. And a young lady realised this, or they asked her, or she asked them, I don't know what the details were on that, and she went and got shopping for her. Things like that, you know, it's not all like happy things. It's not like the silly stories at the end of the news about the ducklings trying to cross the road, trying to cross the motorway, and the cops stop the cars. No, not that kind of thing. Real news stories, just a more positive thing. Spin on things. How do you feel about that? You might feel that's not the point of the news. That you should really get down to the nitty gritty and not try to soft sell the news. But anyway, that's what is, and a number of news services do this. The paper I normally read does it, online paper, and there's a guy on Instagram who just started posting only positive stories at some point, and I read those, and they're not as many of them. Funnily enough, there's not as many of these good stories, sadly, but they are there. They are there, and it's a nice thing to a way to feel like you're not locking yourself away from the world, but you're also not making yourself miserable either.